Welcome to Tech Leaders Today with your host, Cassie Crossley. All comments, views, and opinions expressed on this show are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers. Now here's Cassie Crossley.
Welcome to Tech Leaders Today. I'm here with Manoj Madhusudanan. He is the co-founder and managing director of InsightBee by Evalueserve. Manoj, welcome.
Thank you, Cassie. Thank you for having me on this call.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Can you tell us more about your company and what it does?
InsightBee is an online customer research service. This is aimed at making it really simple for our customers to source high-quality custom research and analytics from any device. This is part of a company called Evalueserve, which is a global professional services provider with over 3,200 people across locations in India, China, Chile, Romania, and the US, offering research, analytics, and data management services. I have been with this company, Evalueserve, for over 12 years. When I joined this company in 2004, we were a 200 people company. Over the next 5 years, we grew across locations. But after 2008, after the global financial meltdown, the entire rate of growth came down a bit, but still double-digit growth. That gave us a bit of time to think about new models that we can deploy for, getting a faster market traction. So InsightBee is born out of that quest for creating new models where technology and the global delivery team can be brought together. So we call this mindful machine. In fact, our co-founder of Evalueserve, Mark Pollenweder, he's also written a book recently called Mindful Machine, which is essentially looking at how such a model can be implemented analytics processes in organizations. So InsightBee is a combination of technology as well as the capabilities that are brought by a global team across all these centers.
In the technology report your company has put out this year, you mentioned several different technologies for 2017. But let's talk for a moment about people, because technologies, especially new and upcoming technologies, are what will be the essential heartbeat of all businesses in the future. It requires people who have different skill sets, let's say. For example, we're not necessarily looking just for full stack or front office or back office developers. So how do we find the right people to meet the technology trends for 2017?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, if you look at our report, it lists things like cloud, Internet of Things, big data, AI, and data analytics as some of the top 5 trends that our survey has revealed. People think this would be the biggest disruptor. You're absolutely right that there aren't enough skills in all of these. But what is most important is for any firm trying to create their niche in any of these areas, need to also bring in the right global talent. It may not always be necessary that you have to hire people with specific skills. There would be very focused firms whom you could work with, who could bring that capabilities to your fold. What is important is to really have a global outlook and reach out for the right firms and right skills before you embark on that journey. For example, machine learning. You could always hire a few people who can bring some machine learning capabilities. But if you really want to leverage the global capabilities available, you should not be close to the option of looking at firms who can support you as third-party companies, right? That's what we have done for InsightBee, for example, for machine learning and artificial intelligence. We are looking at and have been working with a few firms who bring those capabilities to us. So it really depends, right? There is no single rule. If you are a large company like an Amazon or a Facebook, of course, you would definitely have a large team of developers and you would definitely be able to hire them. But if you are starting up and still want to grab a space in these new technologies, it's quite worthwhile to consider having right partners on board.
Do you think that the industry is set up to work on these new technologies now that those partners are in place? Some of the technologies we've had for a number of years, such as cloud and big data, but the Internet of Things, we've heard recent reports of how things have been hacked tremendously. So do you think the industry is ready to supply people for Internet of Things and artificial intelligence?
Right. So again, there is no single answer to this. Things like cloud, of course, there is a lot of skills available because it's been around for a long time. and it's been developing. There are lots of cloud-based companies and the technologies to manage the cloud and create the right kind of platforms on this cloud, right? All of that's been around for a long time. Let's take one by one, right? So if you look at big data, there has been a lot of hype. The truth is that companies just try to hire a lot of skills and then realize they were not really trying to solve any particular use case which would be bringing the right kind of ROI. So the key is not just hiring the right people. It is all about trying to get the right thing applied to the right use case. Now, Internet of Things or big data, all of this has been still in very rudimentary stages. So over the next 2-3 years, it could develop a lot more. But it's not like there are like thousands of people out there ready to get on board and solve business problems. The technology will develop. There will be more talent pool available. But I think firms need to take an approach which is very much use case centric to solve some of these. And then look for right talent and right technology. So rather than looking at technology of let me implement this technology and now look for the talent, they need to solve the problem and then look for where the right talent would be. And you're absolutely right. Industry is still not very well equipped with abundant levels of talent. And that's also the opportunity for a lot of people to build skills in these new emerging areas.
Are you looking to reach technology leaders? Hosting a podcast does have some costs involved. I'm searching for sponsors on this weekly podcast to simply pay for the hosting, editing, and marketing associated with this great podcast. If you're interested in sponsoring the podcast, please contact me through Twitter or my website, and soon you'll be reaching technology leaders around the world. Well, let's take it to the topic of technology. I've been looking at the report a bit. I mean, these are the same 5 things that I've been seeing over the last few weeks of what's coming in 2017. But in your report, you do detail analysis on something that obviously CIOs and other tech leaders need to understand. So can you tell a few points about what's in the report that gives it a lot of value? Because I saw information about where Chinese companies are unwilling to embrace those technologies. And then you also talk about ROI. There's a lot of substance in your report.
So if you look at the top big 5 technology forces shaping the future of businesses, there is probably not much of surprise because this is what everyone would think. But the surprising thing is things like 3D printing. We would expect that this to be probably among the top 5 or top 10, but this was ranked as one of the last when we asked people, what do you think is the top disruptor in the coming years, right, for example. So we did the survey across US, UK, Germany, Singapore, China, and India as 6 representative geographies across the world. 73% of the Chinese firms that we surveyed thought that not bringing these technologies will affect the revenue growth badly, whereas only 19% of the US firms thought that not having these technologies is going to be bad. And the second part is 52% of the Chinese firms said that they would implement the relevant technology over the next 12 months compared to only 38% of US firms. I mean, I don't want to get into all the statistics. 84% of the Chinese firms said they have a mechanism to measure the ROI of these new technologies, whereas only around 60% of US firms said that. So there's clearly a lot of focus on these new disruptive technologies in China, which I think the US firms and firms around the world should probably take note of. China has the ability to create a lot of innovation, and there seems to be a clear focus on bringing these new technologies. So that could be one of the key findings. The other thing is, while firms are very bullish on all of these technologies, there is also a growing concern on cybersecurity aspects. Again, I don't want to get into all the details, but it was pretty interesting to see across geographies how people see not taking adequate measures on cybersecurity would impact them even more as these new technologies are being implemented.
We see the impact of cybersecurity on Internet of Things and some on cloud. I'm very interested in the artificial intelligence in cybersecurity because I don't think people are realizing hackers are using AI techniques to really target certain areas, and then it's going to continue to grow. Did you do any investigation into that?
We did not do anything specific to AI, but so end of the day, what is important is it's a connected world, right? So whether you are talking about Internet of Things or AI, the key threat is if you don't take adequate measures, it is unlike 20 years back where you had standalone computers. It is a lot more connected today, and therefore the risk or vulnerability to such attacks is a lot more. So interesting thing that we found was that the larger firms are a lot more equipped across all these technologies when they look at cybersecurity measures than the mid-sized ones. Mid-sized ones, they have a lot of ambitious plans to invest in these technologies, but their preparedness for cybersecurity threats was a lot lower than what it was for the larger firms. When I say larger firms, firms over $2 billion of revenues, and compared to like 100 million to 1 billion range of companies when I say mid-sized firms.
In the data analytics field, I was surprised to see it on the top 5. That would have been an older trend. Where do you see data analytics in 2017?
So that's actually a very interesting point that you raised. What has happened is while there is still a lot of hope for big data to solve a lot of use cases, you would see that a lot of firms have already invested in things like big data and haven't got sufficient ROI. So there is a growing realization in many firms that small data is also beautiful. In fact, that may be even more beautiful. In fact, the book I spoke about, Mind Plus Machine, in that Mark talks about this. 95% of the B2B use cases are still very much small data oriented. You would imagine that, okay, the data analytics days are over, but you actually get a lot more ROI in a typical B2B situation when you are looking at the data available with a fresh perspective, trying to solve the right problem. So the problem with data analytics in the past has also been that it was more technology and tools and statistics focused rather than trying to really solve the business problem. So I would actually not say that days of data analytics is over. Rather, there is a lot of potential that has not been realized yet, which will come to the fore when companies take a different approach to data analytics. This is not to say that big data or any of those things will not explode in future, but there are several companies who have already burnt a lot of money and haven't got the right ROI in some of these technologies. So there is a more practical approach that many firms are now trying to deploy. And therefore, data analytics and investment around data analytics coming to the fore is actually, to me, not a big surprise.
You've mentioned several times ROI, and that's a topic that I'm very passionate about. I've been on a number of projects and initiatives over the years where I could see that the ROI was not there. It was somebody's wish, I guess, that they were just trying to put some initiative in there. Do you ever see that changing? You made an interesting point about Chinese firms versus the U.S. firms. I see the same thing, that some companies are very detailed and go through ROI analysis and others don't.
There is better scrutiny now, right? Before you jump into any investing in such technologies, a CFO wants to see what is it that you have in plan and how are you going to measure the impact of what you are trying to implement. I think even 5 years back, everyone just jumped onto some of these technologies just because their neighbor also had jumped onto it a day before. But that has changed. But having said that, is there a holistic and accurate approach or method to measure ROI in each of these areas? Answer would be yes and no. Because a lot of these technologies and how that technology is going to impact, it is still not linear equation. You would implement something, you would obtain the benefit of the technology probably 3 or 4 years down the road. And, partially you might start getting some benefits already. So it's very hard to predict exactly what the benefits of each of these technologies would be on day one. And there would be many winners and many losers in the coming years, that's for sure. But that's how human innovation has always evolved over centuries. But there is better scrutiny before, jumping into investing in some of these technologies and creating new tools, technologies, and products around it. You can't just have some blind assumptions and then get investors to agree to you. So there is a much better scrutiny around and monitoring of how these technologies are helping. In fact, many firms shut down the park if they don't see a tangible ROI coming in a reasonable period. When I say reasonable period, I'm not talking about 1 or 2 quarters, but you still need to derive a reasonable ROI out of this. Otherwise, firms don't have infinite patience anymore in trying to create, right? And that varies across industries, across geographies. And that's what we are also seeing in the survey, right? Some countries are more careful, and companies in those countries have greater adherence or greater awareness of monitoring and measuring the ROI. Companies in certain countries are not as much focused on that aspect, right? So there are variations, but overall there is more measured and more ROI-focused approach these days.
How is InsightBee using these disruptive technologies?
InsightBee has been a combination of some of these technologies. As I said, we are leveraging partners for things like machine learning and artificial intelligence. InsightBee is completely cloud-based. It's a pay-as-you-go cloud-based platform. Somebody needs specific business insight. They need to simply go to InsightBee.com, type a question, and through an e-commerce platform, right, they can place an order for what they want, and our team would get in touch. And we also have created a few other products on this platform. One is an InsightBee Sales Intelligence. We actually got an award for the best lead generation tool earlier this year for InsightBee Sales Intelligence at the B2B Marketing Expo in London. Then we created something called InsightBee Procurement Intelligence, which was recently selected by the CIO Review as one of the top 20 most promising procurement solution providers. While we talk about these disruptive technologies, what we are trying to do is change the space of this custom research and analytics by using some of these technologies, combining that with the human delivery model around the world that we have in our parent firm, right? So, and that's why we call this mind plus machine. But I just wanted to put that in context where these disruptive technologies is important for our own delivery.
Thank you so much for being on Tech Leaders today, Manoj. How do people get in touch with the company and you?
Thank you, Cassie. So it's very easy to get in touch with InsightBee. All you need to do is to go to InsightBee.com. That's insight and bee as in like honeybee, InsightBee.com. You can either write to support@InsightBee.com, or easiest way is to just click on the live chat on the website, and one of our customer service representatives would then connect with you. Right. So that's the easiest way to reach InsightBee, and there are also helplines and telephone numbers on the website. To reach me, one way could be to just simply reach out to the live chat, and the team could connect with me. Could also connect with me via LinkedIn. So that could be another way to reach out to me personally.
Great. I'll include your LinkedIn on the show notes. Thank you again.
Thank you, Cassie. Thank you for inviting me.
I want to thank you so much for listening today. If you love this podcast, please do share it with your friends and colleagues, and please leave a review on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, because it makes a difference for circulation. For the show notes and other great info, enter your email into the mailing list at techleaderstoday.com. Thank you.